have PCOS or you have always suspected you might, I need to tell you something. They have been calling it by the wrong name all along. Not wrong in a small technical way, but wrong in a way that explains why so many women with this condition have spent years feeling like they were failing at something when the map they were given was never accurate to begin with. And now the medical community is beginning to say what many of you already knew. Now, what's changing and why? Polycystic ovary syndrome, most of you who have it were probably told it was an ovary problem, maybe a fertility problem, maybe a hormonal problem that will be managed with the pill until you wanted to get pregnant. And many of you had a quiet sense that didn't match your experience because it wasn't just your ovaries, it was your weight, it was your energy, it was your mood and your skin and the way your body responded to stress and the way it held onto weight no matter what you tried. It didn't feel like an ovary problem. It felt like a whole body problem. In 2026, that understanding is gaining a formal traction in the medical literature. The proposed new name is PMOS, Polyendocrine Metabolic Ovarian Syndrome. They rename reposition the condition not as a disorder of the ovaries, but as a metabolic and endocrine condition, a systemic state that happens to also affect ovarian function. This is a significant shift. And I want to explain why it matters beyond the name. When a condition is named after its most visible symptom, the treatment tends to follow the symptom. Suppress the symptom with the pill, manage fertility when needed. What gets missed in the upstream drive? The insulin resistance, the HPA axis dysregulation, the stress load component, the inflammatory pattern that drive the hormonal picture in the first place. The rename says this is a metabolic condition first. The ovary changes are downstream consequences. This isn't just a rename exercise. The science behind it is real and it is accelerating. This year, a randomized controlled trial was published in Natural Medicine. 76 women with PCOS were studied for 6 months. One group followed a 6-hour eating window, no calorie counting. The result included a 9% drop in testosterone, a 26% drop in free androgen index. And for the women who had irregular periods, around 2 to half of them saw their cycle come back to regularity just from changing when they ate. If you want the full breakdown of that study and how to know if fasting is right for your system, Wednesday video cover it in depth. The link is in the bio and up here somewhere. What the study confirms is what the PMOS rename is saying. The hormonal pattern is the condition. The elevated androgens, the cycle disruption, the fertility impact is downstream of the metabolic state. When you address the metabolic drives, the insulin resistance, the eating pattern, the stress load, the hormonal pattern shifts meaningfully. A 2025 analysis of PCOS community forum posts used research-grade method to look at thousands of posts. And they found that women consistently reported frustration with being dismissed by physicians, being told the pill was their only option, being given no explanation of what was driving the condition. The most positively regarded intervention were lifestyle changes, specifically ones that address the underlying metabolic pattern. Women with this condition have been saying for years that it felt systemic, that it is connected to stress, that it got worse when their life got harder, that they peeled help for some symptom, but not the feeling of something being fundamentally off. They were right. Their science is now saying the same thing. So what do you actually do with a name change? First, let it be a reframe, not a heavier diagnosis, not a new thing to be worried about. A clarification of what was already true. Your condition was already metabolic. The rename just say it out loud. That is not a worse news. That is more accurate news. Second, ask what is upstream. If you have been managing primarily by suppressing symptoms, the pill for your cycle regulation, spironolactone for androgens, metformin for insulin, without looking at the metabolic and stress load picture, that is worth a conversation with whosoever supports your health. Not to stop what is already working, but to ask, what is upstream of these symptoms? And are we addressing it? Third, take your nervous system seriously. The research on stress and HPA acid dysregulation in this condition is building a clear picture. Women under chronic load, caregiving, mental load, poor sleep, no recovery time are having hard time managing this condition. Not because they are weak, but because their stress system and the hormonal pattern feed each other. Address your nervous system is not a soft add-on. It is directly relevant to your condition. The system was misnamed. For years, women with this condition were accessed through the lens of an ovary disorder, given ovary-focused treatments, and left to figure out the rest, the weight, the energy, the stress, the metabolic pattern, largely on their own. And many of them felt like they were failing at their own recovery. You were not failing at it. The map was wrong. The map is getting better. And the evidence is finally catching up to what you already knew about your own body. Wednesday video is a deep dive on fasting and this condition specifically. What the new trials show about who fasting helps and who it doesn't. The link is in the description. If this channel is new to you, subscribe. I'm here every Wednesday and Sunday. I would love to hear from you in the comments. Did you always feel like your PCOS were more than an ovary problem? Tell me, I read every single one. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one.